All right, hello and welcome back, everyone, to PSGL. We are here for round number 5 of season number 30, and this is round 5 of the Hungarian Grand Prix here at F8, the PlayStation division. So you join us with 15 minutes remaining of the qualifying session here at the Hungary for round 5 in PSGL. This is season 30, like I mentioned, and we're getting ready to start the Hungarian Grand Prix. Alright, so let's talk about this track before we get into the racing itself. So, this circuit, of course, is called the Hungarian Grand Prix, or the Hungary, and of course, it is called the Hungarian Grand Prix. 14 turns make up a circuit length of 4.3 kilometers, that's 2.7 miles long. There's also 2 DRS stones to help encourage overtaking, one down the pit straight, and that's going to be the best place to make an overtake down into turn 1. Into that heavy braking zone. And then if you can't make that overtake into the first turn, don't worry, because there's another DRS zone all the way down to turn 2, and that'll be a great place to make an overtake. But it is a little bit shorter, and so that's why turn 1 is the better place to make an overtake. So in today's session, we got 17 drivers lining up on the grid with 14 minutes remaining of the qualifying session. I'm Formula Jonah, your commentator for today's race here in PSGL of F8. And we're about to get the racing underway as we see drivers setting some lap times already. They're just setting into the 1:15s. It looks like Felix 1 is the current pole sitter. It's actually Jarno beats that time and goes into the 1:14. So we're already seeing some quick lap times coming into Bosler. Now goes second fastest as Giro now goes fastest. So a lot of drivers setting times, and I expect a lot of drivers to start getting faster and faster as the track starts warming up. And these drivers get out on track and start setting in some quicker lap times. All right, so we have a lot of racing to go as we head into the 5th round of the season, guys. This is going to be absolutely incredible to see what these drivers can do. We've already had 4 amazing rounds here in PSGL F8 as we had the first round in Portugal, then another one in Britain, and then Monaco and France just 2 weeks ago. It's been an incredible season so far as we head into the 5th round, and we're starting to head into the halfway mark of the season. And already we're seeing some surprise winners and surprise podium sitters as well, which is great to see. So it looks like pretty much half the grid has set lap times already. Giro still has the fastest lap time, as the Alfa Romeos have putting on some incredible performances in the previous few races. I think France was a good example of that, especially since they grabbed a 2-3, I do believe, in the race itself. It was a great performance by Alfa Romeo last time out. Giro getting a podium also in Monaco. So Alfa are going well, and I expect them to do well here in Hungary as well. So we'll see how that all works out. But is there any other drivers on the grid? Let's find out. Currently, Ruben is out on a lap. Now, Ruben won the Monaco Grand Prix, so I expect the Red Bull driver to be coming into this race looking to maybe get another win, his 2nd win of the season. That'll be great for him, of course. And he would be the 2nd driver so far this season to grab 2 different wins, Milan being the other driver. And quick news about Milan, actually, he has moved to F6, so we'll be seeing him over in the F6 division, which will be great to see him. So congrats to Milan on moving up to F6. And yeah, now he won't be in the F8 championship, which is a little unfortunate for us, but of course it's great news for him as he moves up to the 6th division of the PlayStation tiers. So he is going to be replaced, I do believe, by Jordi in the Mercedes, but I'm not exactly sure on that. I have to look at the full data to see exactly who he's or who is replacing him in that Mercedes car. And that Mercedes driver who is replacing him could be fighting for wins and stuff like that. So it's exciting to see another driver come in, especially into round 5. Maybe if they will be able to be able to win a few races and get some podiums and stuff like that. So we'll see how that all works out. But with a few drivers out on laps, it looks like they are getting ready for their 2nd of possibly 3 laps in the session. Usually what drivers need to do is they need to set around 3 laps, and they usually go out for like a warm-up lap, just kind of field the track, all that sort of thing, and then they go out for a push lap, and then their final lap at the end of qualifying to possibly stick it on pole position and fight for those positions, of course. But right now, it looks like we're in the middle of qualifying. And a few drivers are coming out on track looking to set some really good lap times. Quickly, before we move into these lap times, let's take a look at this track itself. So we got a lot of turns on this track. It is, I think a lot of people think of it as the Monaco Grand Prix without the walls. And I can agree with that. It is a very difficult circuit, to be honest, guys. But to be honest, I love this circuit. I think it's my favorite circuit on the calendar, at least top 3 for me, as it is just wonderful to drive this circuit. So as I mentioned, there's 2 DRS zones. There's one down to the pit straight and down to turn 1, and then there's another one in between turn 2, or turn 1 and turn 2, and that is heading down into that lawn, almost hairpin of the track. And then you got that quick left-hander at turn 4, which drivers try and get completely right, as it is a very difficult corner to manage, one of the most difficult corners on the track. Let's take it on board with El Piloter so we could just see how the track evolves throughout the entire lap. So down into turn 1, we're going to brake into that heavy braking zone as he's going to exit nicely, shifting up the gear, short shifting a little bit as you come into that short DRS zone, down to turn 2. Into a downhill section of the track. Don't get on the white curb to the left, as you can spin off very easily. Into turn 3, a quick right-hander as you head up the hill. Into turn 4, a very quick left-hander as drivers can go wide and get invalidation like El Piloter just did, unfortunately. If you just go too wide, you get an invalidation, and that's exactly what happened to El Piloter, which is a little unfortunate for the Williams driver. But he should be able to go out again and go for another lap, cool down these tires, and get ready for another lap to try and set a better lap time. But we'll see how that works out. So it looks like we have a few drivers on laps currently. I think the McLaren of Jarno is coming around the final couple of corners. Let's see what he can do. Can he go faster? Yes, he does, but it is not a rise in position. It is only P2 for him, but he does improve on his time. So very good lap time from the McLaren driver. That puts him closer to Giro in terms of the position and the time as well. And it looks like Nick Kenshin also went 4th, so congrats on that position, Nick Kenshin, with a brilliant lap. As De Boiselaire now goes fastest overall, a 1:14.6. He dips it into the 1:14.6. It is so great to see that from the AlphaTauri driver as he goes to 10th faster than Giro. So great to see that, as there goes Jordi in the Mercedes going faster, as he also puts it into the 1:14.6s. So great lap from the Mercedes driver. And he's going to be challenging De Boiselaire up at the front, and I'm assuming Giro is going to try and improve on his time too as he goes to the line. He does not improve on that lap time, but he's surely going to go again. Let's take it on board with the Alfa Romeo driver as he comes down into turn 1, as the sky looks to be getting a little darker. Looks like there's more clouds coming in. So could we see some rain towards the end of qualifying? It definitely is possible. We will find out in a moment's time. So Giro coming through turn 3 into that quick right-hander. Now this is where El Piloter made that little mistake of going too wide as Giro goes faster. Cuts that corner a little bit there, but that's good. That's exactly what you want to do into that particular section. The game allows that. As you come through to turn 5, into turn 6, heavy braking zone. Drivers can be forced kind of wide, and as Giro gets a little bit too much oversteer there. You want to shift down to around 4th to 5th gear into this particular section of the track. Shifting up to around 6th into a left, then a right, turn 11. Don't go too wide. Invalidation zone right there. As you go too wide, you can get an invalidation very easily. Into the last of the heavy braking zones as we come down to the final 3 braking zones. Into turn 13. Rotates that car really nicely as he comes out of that corner. Shifts down a little bit. Gets a little bit of short shifting there. Another traction zone as Giro comes to the line. Does improve on his time, but doesn't improve on his position. But that means that we now have 3 different drivers into the 120 or 114.6s. Very, very good lap time from Giro there. As this is shaping up to be a very interesting end to qualifying with so many drivers in contention for pole. So it looks like Jarno's going for another lap here. He's currently in 4th and looking to get a lap in. And he's on an outlap. Same with Syntex as well. Both. Oh, there is a raindrop. We can see rain coming in. That makes sense why these drivers went a little early on going out. They want to get a lap in before the rain hits. And this could be very interesting, guys, because the rain is starting to come in very fast. As we can see more and more raindrops coming in. And the track starting to have a little bit more puddles on the track, which is very interesting. So we could see these drivers' laps in a difficult position, to be honest, because right now with the rain coming in, they're going to be sliding all over the place. So this might be the end of qualifying, which is very interesting. And we said that the clouds were coming in fast, and they definitely were. And the rain has now hit the track with drivers coming out on outlaps, but it might be too late. It might be just too late. Is anyone else on a lap, though? I think Ruben might be on a lap, so he might be able to get a lap in, but no, he's slowed down, so he's not going to be improving on that time. El Pilotaire, though, might be able to get a faster lap in here. He invalidated that previous lap, so he's got to make sure he gets a good lap here as he comes to the line now. What can El Pilotaire do? He jumps up into the top 5. Good lap time from the Williams driver, and just in the nick of time as well, because the rain has hit the track, and I think that might be the end of qualifying. I don't think these times are going to get any faster, and that might be the end of it. And that might be the Mercedes driver of Jordi on pole position for the Hungarian Grand Prix. De Bosler should qualify second with Giro in third unless the rain stops, which I don't think it's going to do so. Is there anyone else on a lap, though? Let's find out. Ruben still on a slow lap. I think he knows that P8 is all it's going to be. What about Francie, though, in the McLaren? No, he is invalidated. He's not going to be improving on that time. And I think there's a Ferrari on a lap as well, but it's an invalidation for Julio there in the Ferrari. Ferrari did not have a good qualifying. It was not great for the Scuderia here in Hungary, as Mats is on a lap currently. Actually, no, he's on an out lap, so I don't know if he's going to be able to get a solid lap in, unless this rain stays the way it is. I mean, it looks like it's kind of light conditions, so it shouldn't be too bad, but I don't know if he's going to be able to improve on his time. As Syntex is now retired from the session, so has the Mercedes driver currently on pole position. Matt's currently on a lap, but let's just ride on board with the Alpine in a moment to see what the track is like and if he's able to improve on that time, which I don't think he's able to, but we'll see. Let's see what he can do. Oh, gets a little bit too much on the curve there. He's getting a little bit of understeer due to this rain. No grip, it seems, on these softs, and he's going to invalidate right there. There's nothing he can really do. It's just how it is, and you can see just too much rain as he spins it around, just proving what I've been saying here, that the track is done. There's no way you can improve on your times now. That is the end of qualifying. And that is going to conclude things here in Hungary. A little bit early, but that's how racing goes. Weather comes into play and changes things. It really does change things. So that's it. That is the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix qualifying. It is Mercedes on pole here in Hungary. A very good lap time from Jordi Boxtel in the Mercedes car. A 1:14.624 was his lap time. 3 different drivers in the top 3 on a 1:14.6s, and it all just came down to that second number in that column. And Jarno in the McLaren qualifies 4th, just a 10th behind Giro. Now he's going to be starting on the second row of the grid. I'm curious to see what those 2 drivers on the second row of the grid will be able to do. Can De Bosler challenge the Mercedes driver into turn 1? We will find out. Because I think De Bosler's got some serious pace in this league. He's got a huge chance of taking P1 at the start. We'll find out how that works out, as it seems like everyone is retiring. So it looks like we'll just wait for Mats to come across the line and end off his lap. And then we'll end off the qualifying here in PSGL of the Hungarian Grand Prix here in F8. And there's Mats coming into the pit lane. He is now retired, so we're just waiting for these 3 drivers here to retire from the session. And if they are not able to, it is all good because the clock is ticking down and we shouldn't have to wait long. But I'm assuming they will retire from the session as we just have 30 seconds remaining of the qualifying, and then we'll head into the race itself for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It is going to be an amazing race, guys. Stick around to the end of it because anything can happen here at the Hungarian, as strategy is a big thing in today's race. We'll be looking at that throughout the entire Grand Prix itself. Safety cars could come out at any point as well, due to the track being very difficult and overtaking being quite difficult as well. But somehow, just somehow, guys, viewers or the drivers are able to make some overtakes in some unexpected places. So look out for some unexpected places for drivers to make an overtake, and we could see an amazing spot of overtaking in this race. So we'll find out how that works out. So it is Jordi Boxtel in the Mercedes that qualifies on pole position for the Hungarian Grand Prix. De Bosler is second for AlphaTauri, with Giro rounding off the top three for Alfa Romeo. Jarno starts P4 with El Piloter in P5, completing the top five here in Hungary. Alright, and before we get into the race, guys, I just want to let you all know, if you guys are interested in seeing more PSGL content, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. That would be very much appreciated. And also, like this video as well if you are enjoying the commentary so far. And it's just going to get better, guys, because the Hungarian Grand Prix is coming in, and it's sure to be a banger of a race as we head into round 5 of F8. Looks like clear skies right now. No rain on track, but those clouds are in the air, and we could see some rain. I think we could see some rain in today's race, as it looks a little dark outside, but we'll see. We'll see how this all works out. And if rain does come in, that could definitely spice things up. All right, so now we're heading into the formation lap. We're just waiting for all drivers to pick a setup and get their tires all ready for the upcoming race here in Hungary, as we head into round 5 of PSGL season number 30 here at the PlayStation division of F8. And this is sure to be an absolutely amazing race. So we have 35 laps awaiting us for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lots to look forward to as we head into this amazing race. All right, so let's do the rundown of the grid before we get into the Grand Prix itself. Jordi Boxtel is in the Mercedes, and he qualifies on pole position here in Hungary. Congrats to him on that. Let's see if he can convert that into a race victory. It is going to be very interesting to see what he could do. He's got De Bosler sitting second on the first row of the grid as we head down the grid. Looking down at everyone, we got Giro in P3 for Alfa Romeo, with Jarno starting alongside the Alfa Romeo driver in P4. El Piloter was able to grab top 5 just in the nick of time before the rain came, and he was able to grab a top 5 in qualifying. Let's see what he can do in the race as Nick Kenshin lines up alongside the Williams driver in P6. Syntax and the Aston Martins qualifies P7, with Ruben, the Monaco Grand Prix winner, in P8. Robin West, who has scored very good positions in the previous Grand Prix. He scored 2 podiums this season so far. He qualifies P9, with Clem in the Haas starting P10. Felix 1 for Alfa Romeo starts P11, with Francie in the McLaren on the hard compound tires. Let's see what he can do, as he can go quite long and possibly pit onto the softs towards the end of the Grand Prix. He could be a driver to look forward to as we head into those final few laps. It is all a Ferrari 13th and 14th on the grid, as the Ferraris line up 13th and 14th on the 7th row of the grid. Then we got Hyped in the Red Bull starting 15th, with Mats in P16, and Slash rounding off the grid for Williams on the hard compound tires. 3 drivers starting on the hards as we head into this race. A few drivers on the mediums as well, but the majority are all on softs, and those tires are going to be absolutely incredible to see how these drivers cope with them throughout the race, as they are the fastest. So we're heading into the 35 laps of the PSGL F8 race here in round 5 of the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 light. And it's lights out, and away we go here in Hungary. It's a great start for the front two. DeBosler tries to challenge Jordy. Down to turn one we go. Is Giro going to look to try and make that move as well? Jarno trying to pressurize that Alfa Romeo down into turn one, but it is DeBosler that is leading for the race, but not for long, because the Mercedes driver of Jordy is coming back at him. They are side by side coming down to turn one. Meanwhile, Giro and Jarno also side by side. Giro maintains the position, but the top two are still side by side. This is brilliant racing as we head down to turn four. They're still side by side. DeBosler goes wide. DeBosler keeps ahead. Jordy down to P2, but that was incredible racing side by side between the top two all the way down into turn four. I cannot believe they kept that going, and they kept that going clean. But Jordy lost a little bit of time off of that chicane as Giro is on the back of the Mercedes driver. Jarno right there as well. And El Piloter still P5. Ruben made up a few positions as well, as looks like Giulio is down to P17, unfortunately, for Ferrari. As Robin West P8 as well, looking to get into the mix, as it is a DRS train right now, as the DRS will be enabled in the next few laps, but heading down into the final corner of the Hungarian Grand Prix first lap. DeBosler leads. He had the perfect start. He battled Jordy, and he took the lead, but he still has that Mercedes driver right behind him. The gap is only 7/10 between those two drivers. If we have Nick Kenshin down the inside on El Piloter, as the Williams going to come back at him, though. That was a good move from Nick Kenshin, and I do not think that El Piloter will be coming back. So good move from the Williams, or from the Alpine driver on the Williams. And Nick moves himself up into P5. And it looks like we have Felix 1 into the pit lane, as well as Julio as well, and the Ferrari and Alpha coming into the pit lane for, I'm assuming, a wing change and possibly tires as well, it seems. They're both pitting onto the hards and looking to go long on that particular strategy, but DeBosler still has that 8/10 gap to the Mercedes in second position. Giro in P3 for Alfa Romeos. We have a yellow flag, and that is hyped in the Red Bull off the track at the chicane. We're trying to see exactly what's going on to the Red Bull driver, but he spun off, I do believe. Couldn't get a good glimpse of exactly what happened, but it seems like he either spun or made contact with another driver, but he unfortunately is down to P15. And does he have any wing damage? It doesn't look like it by what we're seeing on track, but he might just have small wing damage, and small wing damage affects your performance quite a bit, guys. Lesser downforce, and of course that's not good. As DeBosler set the fastest lap of the race at 118.6, he is flying out there, guys. DeBosler going for his first win here in season number 30. As Jordy in the Mercedes still looking to get that win as well, and Giro right behind in the Alfa Romeo. All drivers are separated between 5 or so tenths of a second to each other, all the way down to around P10. So this is really incredible to see how this works out between all these drivers, as DRS should be enabled this lap. That should give the opportunity to Jordy to possibly make that move on DeBosler, but we'll find out. Now DeBosler still leading the Grand Prix off of Jordy in that Mercedes. Jordy's got to ace this Sector 2 and Sector 3 as well. And DeBosler's also done the same, though, so they're kind of equal in pace right now, and they're not, Jordy's not really gaining time on DeBosler. While he is pushing quite a bit, DeBosler is doing the same. And the thing is, too, guys, is that while these drivers are pushing quite a bit on these tires and trying to catch the other driver, this does mean those tires are degrading, and this means they could pit a little sooner than expected. And drivers want to try and go for the one-stop strategy because it is possible for around here, but of course they may need to go for the two-stop, and that might be the faster option for them. As it looks like Jordy was able to get the DRS, but is unable to make the move on DeBosler. He is just too far back. He's got to make sure that he just gains the time on the AlphaTauri driver and tries to catch up on that AlphaTauri. So we'll see if he's able to do that. 6/10 separating DeBosler and Jordy for the race lead. Now, the Mercedes driver has been able to gain a little bit of time on the AlphaTauri, but he needs another, I'd say, 1 or 2 laps to be in contention of taking P1 away from DeBosler. But we'll find out. And the thing is, too, is that once these guys do pit, they are going to need to, well, one of them's going to want to stay ahead. So if you're DeBosler, he's going to want to to stay ahead of Jordy here and make sure that he gets the best pit stop as possible. But if Jordy can get ahead, this is super beneficial for the Mercedes drivers. He's going to be able to get ahead of de Beausoleil and try and challenge that AlphaTauri. So enough of the top two right now. As they're having a great battle, we still want to focus on the rest of the field because there's a lot of drivers in a close fight for some really good positions in this race. The two Aston Martins are close on track as they are currently P8 and P9. Is there going to be team orders? I don't believe so, and I do believe Syntax is a reserve driver, so they are basically on different teams right now, even though they are both Aston Martins. But right now, we're kind of in a DRS train, and that's kind of how it works until the strategy comes into play, guys. Once strategy comes into play, then things get a little interesting in terms of overtakes and all that sort of thing. But right now, they've kind of formed a DRS train all the way down to around 10th. From first. So that's how it goes. It's all good. But I think the closest battle we're seeing right now is Giro versus Jordy for P2 in the Grand Prix. The Alfa Romeo right on the back of the Mercedes driver. But Jordy is closing up to de Beausoleil. He gained a little bit of time of that DRS on the AlphaTauri. So he might be able to get ahead of de Beausoleil on this lap. But he's got to ace Sector 3. That is what he needs to focus on right now, is acing Sector 3. If he can do that, then he's got a really good chance of overtaking de Beausoleil on the next lap. And it looks like Robin is going for a move on Ruben as well. Robin in the Aston Martin goes a little bit wide. Might get a warning for that, unfortunately. But he's been on a really consistent drive throughout this season. He got a podium in Portugal with a brilliant strategy. He got a podium in Monaco, and it's kind of been this I want to say train of kind of Robin scoring a podium pretty much every other race. It's been seeming like that's the case, as he scored a podium in round 1. He scored a podium in round 3. Could he score a podium here in round 5? We'll see. We'll see how that works out. As it looks like we have Syntax into the pit lane. Now, is this an early stop for the Aston? It seems to be, as he is pitting on lap 6 and is the first of these drivers to pit for a strategy. I think the other two drivers that did pit were pitting because of wing damage. I don't think it was because of strategy call, as they wouldn't have pit that early. So Syntax is the first of these drivers to pit, and do you know what? This might be a very smart move from Syntax, as we have El Pilotaire getting ahead of Nick Kenshin. And did maybe Nick Kenshin make a little mistake, because he's losing a little positions here, as he just lost a position to Ruben and now Robin. I think Nick Kenshin has got a problem here. Nick Kenshin going very wide. I think he's got wing damage. Yes, he does. He's got major wing damage. There goes the Haas now round the outside of the Alpine. Nick Kenshin has got damage to that car, and this is not good for Alpine here. A really difficult position for the Alpine crew right now, as there goes Francie up into P9. Nick Kenshin struggling to keep that car in a straight line here. But he's got to make sure that he does so, as de Beausoleil is into the pit lane. Same with Jarno, the race leader, into the pits as he comes into the pit lane on lap 7. And he's definitely going to pit this lap and probably pit onto the medium compound tires or the hards. Jarno into the pit lane on the hards, or on the mediums. De Beausoleil into the pit lane on the hards. Very interesting strategy. Robin also pitting as well. He is pit onto the hard compound tires. Meanwhile, Nick Kenshin also doing the same, but he had to pit due to wing damage as well. But this is very interesting from the race leader here. De Beausoleil pits on the hard compound tires. And do we think this is a good strategy from de Beausoleil? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on strategy, as I'm sure a few of you are racers yourselves and are keen to know on what the strategy is for today's race. In my opinion, this is an interesting strategy by de Beausoleil. I don't know exactly if this is going to work out, because the thing is that a safety car could come out at any point. But in terms of not having a safety car, or not having any interference from any rain or safety cars or anything like that, I think the hards will definitely go to the end of the race, but he will be struggling towards lap 32. I think he's going to be struggling towards then on those hard compound tires, but we'll see how this works out. I think it would be good to either pit this lap, as a few drivers are actually coming in into the pit lane, and most likely coming into the pits for the hard compound tires. Giro stays out, and it's up to them if they want to pit for the hards or the mediums. If they're going to go mediums, that's definitely a two-stop strategy. You cannot go to the end of the race on the medium compound tires from now. I would recommend going to at least lap 11, lap 12, somewhere around there, and pitting for the medium compound tires. But El Pilotaire has done that. Either he's thinking two-stop, or he might be thinking to go to the end of the race. But To my knowledge, I don't think that's actually possible. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. Oh, and this is quite interesting. DeBozler gets ahead, as to be expected, but Jarno has gone ahead of Jordy. Jarno has been able to get ahead, as that is Mats off the track at turn 3 and turn 4. What happened to the Alpine driver? He started towards the back of the race, and he's currently P6. I think he had a little moment there, maybe spun off a bit. He hasn't lost too much time, but the race leader, the former race leader, might be able to make the move on Mats very soon. And what's very interesting as well is that Jarno, since he has got ahead of Jordy, he has played that strategy really well. And I wonder if that was because Jordy got held up into the pit lane due to all the cars coming into the pit lane, and Mercedes just ends up being first in the garage. As there goes DeBozler down the inside of the Alpine, and DeBozler spins! No, the race leader spins around, and there's contact as Jordy also hit the AlphaTauri. No way! No way! This has affected the entire Grand Prix. DeBozler and Jordy come into the pit lane due to both of them having damage. DeBozler went for the overtake that wasn't really there. The Alpine of Mats, he was fighting him. He knew that he wanted to keep that position, and it was going all so well. And then I think there was contact between the two. The stewards will definitely look into that. But what has happened is DeBozler made contact with the Alpine of Mats, and it was spun around. But unfortunately, Jordy was also caught up in that. And, of course, Jordy wasn't involved in that incident, but because DeBozler spun, Jordy unfortunately hit the AlphaTauri, and it seems like he just didn't have any reaction time to avoid the stricken AlphaTauri on the track, which is super unfortunate. So this means the two drivers that were side by side at the start of the race are now P16 and P17. They were P1 and P2, and now they're last. Wow. Turn of events here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's unfortunate to see that because these guys, they got some serious pace in today's race, and it just didn't seem like it went their way, which is really unfortunate. It is truly unfortunate for these two drivers, but don't give up. Anything can happen. Safety car could happen. Rain could happen in the Grand Prix. Anything can really happen. So all the best for those two drivers. Hopefully they get a great result in the race itself. So Giro comes into the pit lane as Jarno sets the fastest lap of the race. Jarno should take over as the race leader once the top three do pit. He comes down in P4 as it looks like El Pilotaire and Mats swapping positions. El Pilotaire moves himself up into P6. And because those two did make contact to DeBozler and Jordy, this does mean that El Pilotaire has put himself up into third position in the Grand Prix, which is really working out for the Williams driver. He could be going for the race victory. So right now, the battle for the race win is between Jarno, Giro, and El Pilotaire, which is very, very good, and great to see that as well between these three drivers, as El Pilotaire has set a purple sector in the first sector. I think he knows that he's got a major chance of winning this Grand Prix, and he's right in the back of Giro, and this would be good for El Pilotaire to make the move on Giro, because then the Williams driver will get ahead. And the thing is too is that Giro, if he gets closer and closer to Jarno, he gets within DRS, it creates a DRS train, and that's not good for El Pilotaire. So what El Pilotaire needs to do is get past Giro as much as possible here. If he doesn't get past, he's going to be stuck in that DRS train for a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. He is 8/10 behind. He will have DRS, but I don't think he's going to be able to make the overtake on this particular lap. He is just too far behind that Alfa Romeo, and it is just how it goes. But he has set the fastest lap of the race as we have Jarno on down the inside. We go for the McLaren driver. Jarno gets ahead. And a very good move from the McLaren driver. It is now McLaren 1-3 as Francie still leading the Grand Prix. And Slash, those two drivers yet to pit in the Grand Prix. And the Ferrari of Bra is also yet to pit as well. So all three are yet to pit in this Grand Prix. Same with Mats. So interesting to see that. Jarno now into third and now starting to chase after Slash and his teammate Francie. And if Jarno does get past Slash, then he should be able to overtake Francie, because maybe Team Warners will come into play. And McLaren looking for a really good result in today's race. Francie and Jarno going really well. Of course, Jarno currently in P3 and looking to take over as race leader once Francie and Slash do come into the pit lane. And Francie on that different strategy, that alternate strategy from the softs to the mediums or soft to hard. He is going hards to softs most likely, unless he pits for the mediums. But either way it goes, he is going to be flying out there once he pits onto those tires. So what my point is that the McLaren are in a good position here for some great results. So it looks like that Ferrari is trying to weave out of the way as here comes Giro down the inside for Alfa Romeo. He makes that move and is up into 4th position. Good move from the Alfa. And El Palater is now going to be looking for the move on the Ferrari of Bra, coming down into turn 2 and 3, all that section of the track. El Palater still behind that Ferrari. He cannot get past, but hopefully he will be able to get past in the next lap. Meanwhile, we also have a great battle for 7th position. Matt's in P7, and Robin, Ruben, Syntex, and Clem as well, all in that battle for 7th position. Great to see that. As it looks like we have El Piloter and Bra having a nice battle here. That Ferrari having grip issues, it seems, as he's going very wide into turn 13. El Piloter looking for the better traction out of the last corner as he does get that. Gets the DRS and soars past that Ferrari. This should be a pretty easy overtake for the Williams, and it is as... Felix 1 is out of the race. That is the Alfa Romeo out. Is that a full course safety car? Yes, that is. That's a full course safety car. And this is exactly what De Beausoleil and Jordy need. And this is also great for Francie and Slash. They'll come into the pit lane and pit onto the medium compound tires, which should take them to the end of the race. And this is really good for all the drivers. It's unfortunate for Felix 1, who did not have the best of days today. He is down in P17, unfortunately. So the Alfa Romeo is out of the race. And unfortunately, will be out of the session and won't be scoring any points in today's race. But he'll come back stronger in the next one, I'm sure of it. So I'm curious now if Francie is going to come into the pit lane. Same with Slash. If these two do come into the pit lane, then Jarno will most likely take P1. He should take P1 unless they stay out, which I don't think is the best strategy for these two drivers. If I were them, I would come into the pit lane and pit onto the mediums, because the mediums could definitely go to the end of the race at this stage, especially since the safety car is going to kind of reduce the degradation on those tires. So basically, if the safety car goes in on lap 15, this does mean that Francine Slash will have new medium tires from lap 15 to lap 35, which is not long at all for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So what I'm saying is this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect for Francine Slash as they do come into the pit lane. Jarno takes over as race leader. Giro and El Piloter move up into 2nd and 3rd. And Francie moves up into 4th position, unless the Haas is going to make that move. It doesn't look like that's the case. As we can see, Slash coming out of the pit lane as well. He'll come out in P6. And, wow, McLaren in a really good position here for some really good points in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Currently, they are leading the Grand Prix and have a driver in 4th on the medium compound tires. So we're just waiting for everyone to come into the pit lane and get ready to race as the safety car will bunch up the field. And what's great here is this gives a really good opportunity for De Beausoleil and Jordy to come back into the race and fight for consistent points in the Grand Prix. De Beausoleil is only one position away from getting into the top 10 and into the point scoring position. So this is really good news. This is really good news for De Beausoleil and Jordy, and this is exactly what this race needed, guys. As we had some great strategy calls and some great overtaking and all that sort of thing, but a safety car is exactly what this race needed, and now the grid can form back up, a restart of the race, and now we can get into more overtaking, more strategy, and just more exciting racing out on track here in the F8 division. So this is good. This is good. We'll see how this works out. Of course, it's unfortunate for Felix One, who crashed out and was running in, I think, P12 at the time. He had a good chance of scoring some points, but this track, guys, can be so difficult. So all of you viewers watching, just letting you know, this track is one of the most difficult tracks on the Formula One calendar. To some of you, it may not seem that way. To be honest, when I first looked at the Hungarian Grand Prix, I did not think this was that difficult of a circuit. But when I started driving it, it became more of a difficult circuit. But I truly think this circuit is one of the funnest circuits on the Formula One calendar. It is a brilliant circuit to drive. Absolutely love it. But that's just my opinion on the Hungary. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, this does give a restart for everyone. This gives them a new opportunity to be able to fight for some points and get them back in contention for the point scoring positions, which will be great. So I think we're in for some great racing. We have 20 laps remaining of the Hungarian Grand Prix here in PSGL season number 30, F8, the PlayStation division. And we're getting ready to start the race, as it looks like everyone has joined the safety car train, and now Jarno should lead us away. And the question now is, where will Jarno step on the accelerator pedal and go away? The question is that. In my opinion, he's probably going to go on the exit of turn 14 or the exit of turn 13. Either one of those corners would work really nicely. It just depends on his driving. If you have a lower downforce setting, I would recommend going at the exit of turn 14. That way you don't have to deal with so much corners, so much understeer, all that sort of thing. But a lot of drivers are most likely running higher downforce settings. So we'll see how this all works out in today's race as the safety car is coming into the pit lane on lap 15. Like I mentioned, we have 20 laps remaining of the PSGL Hungarian Grand Prix here in F8. Jarno currently leading the Grand Prix. The question is, when will he go? And also, will he be able to hold P1 away from Giro, El Piloter, Francie, and all those drivers looking to win a race? And we're going to ride on board with the McLaren drivers. Jarno goes at the exit of turn 13. So he has gone into turn 13 and accelerated, and he's got a pretty good gap to Giro. That was the perfect start for Jarno, as he almost has a second gap to Giro in P2. So that was exactly what Jarno needed. As it looks like Francie's going for the move on El Piloter. Francie gets up into P3, but El Piloter looking to come back to the McLaren, but he can't. Francie moves himself up into third now as we have, I think, a crash. I think that might be Robin West, who's out of the race. No, Robin West. It was going all so well for him. He was up in P8, I do believe. And unfortunately, is out of the Grand Prix, as we have Jordy and Julio in a great battle here for 13th and 14th. But Jordy gets ahead and into P13 now. De Beausoleil now into 9th. But drama at the start of the safety car. Great start for the front runners. Unfortunately, Robin is out of the race. I think Nick Kenshin was also involved in that, as he's down to P15. As Robin does leave the session. And I am sure he's going to be a little frustrated with that one. But I'm sure he'll come back stronger at the next one. And we'll see how that all works out for the Aston Martin driver. But right now, Jarno leads the race from 0.8 of a second to Giro in P2. And Giro seems to gain a little bit of time on the McLaren driver, as Francie's now up into P3. Francie in a really good position here. He's moved himself up into P3 and ahead of El Piloter. So this is great news for McLaren. McLaren and Williams in a great battle here for the podium, as Slash has also joined the party as well, which puts 2 Williams in the top 6. And it might be 2 Williams in the top 5, because here comes Slash on Clem in the Haas right ahead. It's a Williams sandwich right now, because that Haas is right in the middle. And we'll see if Slash is going to be able to make that move on the Haas driver coming down into turn 4. We go. El Paleter stays ahead of the Haas driver. Slash right ahead, or right behind the Haas driver. He is just a 10th behind that Haas, and he wants to get ahead. He wants to get ahead of that Haas driver. So we'll see if Clem is able to keep that Williams behind, or if Slash is going to be able to make that overtake. And my bets are kind of on Slash right now because he is on fresher compound tires. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And El Piloter still in P4 right now. Oh, Clem makes a little mistake. He locks up a little bit. Stays ahead, though. But Slash might have that opportunity to make the move on Clem if Clem's got that little bit of a flat spot there. That could affect his racing out on track. As Slash maybe using a little bit of ERS, it seems. Let's get telemetry on. We can see all that. As he was using a little bit of ERS, he still has around 70% energy, and actually that's pretty good for the Williams driver. El Paleter still has around 80, so good news for him. And Clem has got around, I think, 60. Yeah, he's got 60. But Slash right in the back. He's using ERS. He's gonna go for it. Round the outside. You don't see a lot of moves into turn 4, but Slash couldn't make the move. He backed off. He knew there wasn't a lot of space into that particular corner, but he's gonna look to make the move maybe into the chicane using a little ERS. Into the chicane we go, side by side. Slash gets ahead, and that was a good move from the Williams driver. He pulled that off really nicely and pulled that off with a clean move up into P5, and he moves himself ahead of the Haas and uses a little bit of ERS to gain time on that Haas driver. Very good move from the Williams driver. And now officially, it is both Williams in the top 5. Great result for Williams right now. If they can keep it up like this, they'll be able to score some solid points in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Oh, that's the Ferrari! Off the track, bro, off the track and out of the race. Is that a full course safety car? Yes, that is. A second safety car has now been called out on track, as we get another one here in Hungary, because the Ferrari of Bra is now out of the Grand Prix. Super unfortunate to see that, and that is at the exit of turn 13. Another corner, if you go too wide or you step on the power a little bit too early, you could spin the car very easily and just go straight into the wall. It is a very difficult corner to master, and unfortunately the Ferrari driver saw the wall and is unfortunately out of the Grand Prix. Yeah, he'll come back stronger in the next one, like all the drivers who have retired. Maybe this wasn't their track or something like that. Yeah, that's unfortunate, of course, but that means that another safety car has come out on track. Will this mean that we could see a few drivers pitting? Could we see Jarno into the pit lane making an early pit stop? El Paleter doing that? That would mean that they lose a lot of track position. Is it worth it for the McLaren and the Williams driver? I don't know, guys. I don't know. To be honest, it's really their call. Because for me, I would stay out. But maybe they feel that these mediums are older compound tires. Maybe those tires are just degrading too much, and they feel they want to pit onto the softs or another set of mediums. But it seems like Jarno is staying out on his tire. El Paleter doing the same. So it's really up to the driver. It depends on what their tire wear is. I kind of wish this game allowed us to see the tire wear out on track. Unfortunately, we do not get that. Hopefully in 2022, we will be able to get that graphic out on screen here in the spectator menu. As there's the safety car. Jarno will bunch up the pack once again, and we'll catch up to that safety car and lead us away for the second time here in Hungary as we wait for the safety car to go in. All right, guys, and also I want to let you guys know, or just ask you a favor. If you guys have any questions, if you guys have any questions about the upcoming Grand Prix, also if you guys have any questions about maybe strategy, any thoughts about the Hungarian Grand Prix here today, what you're watching right now, just anything really, let me know down in the comments. We'd like to get a few comments come in, so that would be very much appreciated if you guys can do that, just to send your support or whatever. That would be very much appreciated. So we have 14 drivers still in the Grand Prix. Jarno currently leading us away as we head into lap 20. 15 laps remain of the Hungarian Grand Prix here in PSGL season number 30. A lot of drivers out on track looking to get a win. Ruben, who's already gotten a win, currently P7, looking to get a great result in today's race. De Beausoleil, who started second, making his way through the field. Jordy in P12 as the safety car is actually coming in this lap. So we'll get the safety car in this lap as everyone is bunched up, so no need to go for another lap. So very good news for us as we get the racing underway once again. Just a short safety car. And now the safety car is coming in this lap, and we will get racing here in Hungary once again. The question is Jarno going to go again at turn 13? Let's find out. Yes, he does. He goes very early again. And it looks like a very similar start to the previous safety car. But it seems like Giro gets a little bit too much on the power at the exit of turn 13. Francie's now going to be on the back of that Alfa Romeo and pulling alongside as he comes down into turn 1. There goes the McLaren, as Francie will surely get ahead, but Giro might get ahead as well. And El Pagater in the action as he's trying to get up into P3. Giro trying to maintain third position. A little bit of wheel baiting there between the two drivers, but all good. El Pagater should get ahead as he goes off track a little bit there, but all good. But now it is a McLaren 1-2 here in Hungary. That was a good move from Francie. He made the overtake like he did on the previous safety car. And it was working out really well at that previous safety car. And it's working out really well here today in the second safety car as he's moved up into second position ahead of Giro. And stays ahead of El Pagater as well, and now is right on the back of his teammate. Now, I am curious to see what McLaren do here. Are they going to do a switcheroo? Are they going to swap the two drivers? We will find out. As it looks like Ruben goes a little bit wide. De Beausoleil is now going to get up into 7th position. Oh, a little bit of contact between the two, and De Beausoleil, the same place. He has spun off and is down to P14. He saves the car from hitting the wall. But he's going to be a little frustrated with that one. The stewards will definitely look into what happened there. But at the same corner, that corner has not been great for De Beausoleil in today's race, as he's going to be moving down to P14 in the Grand Prix. As we have Syntax and Hype side by side, I do believe. Or no, yeah, they are side by side. As the Aston and the Red Bull come down to turn 2 and 3. Who's going to get ahead? Is it the Aston? Is it the Red Bull? Hype trying to keep it going. But the Aston of Syntax is not giving the position up anytime soon, but he eventually does have to do it because Hyped will get ahead and up into P8. Ooh, Mats almost hits the back of Syntax here. Very close to contact, but thank goodness Mats was able to keep it out of contact between the Aston and himself. He is still P10, looking for a really good result in the race, and he's got Jordy, the pole sitter, right behind him. Let's see if he's going to be able to make the move on Matson. We do have a comment coming in, and it says, "Come on, De Beausoleil, you can do it." Well, I hope he can do it as well. I mean, that spin really didn't help him, but who knows what can happen. He's right on the back of this train of cars, and he might be able to get some really good points in today's race. He definitely can do it. He's got the pace to do it. So the gap between the two McLarens and the rest of the field is 1.9 seconds. That is massive in F1 terms. Massive. As we have Slash now getting into 4th. It is now both Williams in P3 and P4. That is great to see. As ooh, looks like Giro's having a little bit of lag there. Not exactly sure, but the two McLarens leading the way, and then comes the two Williams. Then comes Giro in the Alfa Romeo. And Clem and Ruben and Hyped as the two Red Bulls, P7 and P8. Right now is a switcheroo for Williams. Oh! And Giro and El Pagater make contact. And it didn't work out there. As it seemed like it was a team order situation there. Slash and El Pagater. They tried to switch the cars, and they did so. But then Giro was right there as well. And I don't know what exactly happened there. It seems like Giro went round the outside and maybe didn't expect El Pagater to break that early. So the team switch didn't really work out the greatest. But unfortunately, Giro is down to P6 now. He loses the position to the Haas of Clem. but it's not the worst situation. He has only lost a position, so it's not the worst, as that is the Mercedes of Jordy. Round the pole sitter is round at turn 14, and has not been the greatest start to Jordy's season here in PSGL. He is down at P14 and currently last, and he's going to be spinning around and really far down the grid, unfortunately. And McLaren is for some really good points in today's race as well, as Jarno and Francie just separated by 0.3 of a second. And while the Williams switched their two drivers, they did lose time to those two McLarens. So I wonder if Slash and El Piloter, they switched because Slash had the better tires? I'm assuming that's probably what's going on here. So Slash might have the best opportunity to make the move on the two McLarens, and he is gaining a lot of time. And if I'm not mistaken, he did not start in the top 10. I will get that information out on screen if I can find it. Give me one moment here. Not in that column. Here we go. Position change. He started, wow, outside the top 10, definitely. He's gained 14 positions. Slash might be getting driver of the day here, because that is an incredible achievement, as there is a switch between the two McLarens, as Francie moves up into first, Jarno down to second. I think they're just going for it right now, as they got a good gap to the Williams drivers, and they're just going for the win right here between the two. And both drivers do want to win the Grand Prix. Francie and Jarno, they both want to win. But we don't know. We don't know who is going to win and if there's going to be team orders at McLaren. It seems like they're just going for it right now, and they're free to race between the two McLarens. But they got to worry about Slash, who is gaining time on those two McLaren drivers. And I've got the feeling, viewers, that this was a team order situation here, as Francie has got the fresher tires, and it seems like this was a very similar situation to what happened at Williams. And where's Slash? He is now 1.5 seconds behind Jarno. Very interesting. He has set a purple sector in the second sector. Slash absolutely flying. That was a very smart decision from Williams to switch the two drivers, as Slash has really just been gaining a lot of time, as that is Giro, I do believe, off the track. What happened to Giro? And possibly Mats as well? Was there contact between the two? Giro, unfortunately, down to 11th. It has not been the day that Alfa Romeo would have wanted, as one driver's out, one driver in the pit lane. As we have Ruben and Clem having a great battle here. The Haas and the Red Bull looking to go side by side. The Haas stays ahead. The Red Bull trying to get into the action. Ruben right behind the Haas driver. He cannot get past into the DRS zone, either of the DRS zone, but he's going to try again, most likely on the next lap. He's probably saving all that ERS, trying to make sure that he keeps that ERS and make sure that he gets the opportunity to make the move on Clem. And Ruben definitely going for fourth in this race. Let's quickly get penalties out on screen, as Francie's got 3 seconds, Ruben has got 3 seconds, Mats and Nick Kenshin and Jordy all have 3 seconds as well. So Francie's got to make sure he gets a 3-second gap if he's able to get ahead of his teammate. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen at McLaren here, if they're going to switch the two drivers again and try and get Jarno ahead, and Francie try and battle Slash. We don't know how that's going to work out. But Ruben also has that 3-second time penalty, which is going to affect his race. It might hurt him a little bit. So Ruben is going to look to try and get that gap at least to around 3 to 4 seconds, and try and stay ahead of P5 and try and get 5th place in the race. I think that's probably what he's aiming for in this race. He cannot get past Clem at this particular section of the track, and Ruben will look to try and get that overtake into turn 2 at the second DRS zone. Ruben, he's just a little too far back. He has 3 tenths behind. He gets very close to that Haas, but cannot make the move. As it looks like Jordy has now set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Now, he is out of the points, so currently, if he does stay in the bottom 10, then he won't be scoring that fastest lap point, because you have to be in the top 10 to do so, which is, it's okay. It's completely fine. But anyway, we will continue on with the action here in PSGL Francie still leading the race. Jarno in P2. I'm curious to see what they are doing right now. Let's get telemetry back on so we can see exactly what ERS they have. As Francie's got 30% ERS, Jarno has the same. What about Slash? He has 50. Slash has got a lot more, and he is gaining time as well. So this is good news from Slash. He is 5/10 behind the two McLarens. I think Slash might be able to win this Grand Prix. We just have 7 laps remaining of the Hungarian Grand Prix, and a battle between 3 different drivers for the race win. Absolutely incredible. Let's see how this works out. We also have a great battle for P5 currently. Watch out for that, but we want to keep the cameras on this battle for first right now, as we are just waiting to see what McLaren can do here. What are they planning here at the Hungarian Grand Prix? They got 2 drivers in the race lead. One has a penalty. He's got fresher tires, though. Slash is right behind. They cannot switch the drivers because then they fall into the grips of Slash, who's right behind those 2 McLarens. And so, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Right now, I think they're kind of in a difficult position right here because Francie's got that penalty and he needs to gain time. He needs to gain time on Jarno and Slash. So if McLaren were to do this, I think what they need to do is either 2 things. They either need to have Jarno hold up Slash and try and have Francie gain that time on those 2 drivers, or Jarno just needs to hold up Slash here and try and grab P1 and stay in second position ahead of Slash. So either way, Jarno's got a lot of work to do here. And Slash is now using that ERS. He's trying to make the move on Jarno. And Jarno's got 26 ERS. That is not good for the McLaren driver. Things are not looking good for McLaren right now, to be honest, guys. I don't know if they'll be able to win this race, and their chances are not looking very good, but anything can happen in racing. Anything can happen in league racing. We do not know what is going to happen. Another opportunity for McLaren would be to swap the 2 drivers at a good opportunity. Maybe Slash makes a little mistake, gets a little bit too much oversteer, and that is the time for McLaren to swap the 2 drivers, get Jarno ahead and Francie right behind so Jarno can win the Grand Prix because Francie doesn't seem to be gaining the time. So I don't know. This is a really intense situation for McLaren right now. We don't know what's going to happen, but Slash is right behind, and we also have El Piloter starting to gain time as well. He's broken the DRS off of Clem in that Haas, and he might join the party. Could we see 2 McLarens and 2 Williamses battling for P1 with 4 cars at the flag? We'll see how this all works out, as that is a Mercedes spinning around. I think that's Jordy off at the exit of turn 6 and 7. Not exactly sure what happened there. And we have another comment coming in that says, I think you're the best commentator. I've heard enough commentators, but you are really nice to listen to. Thank you very much, mate. I really do appreciate that. I'm trying my very best, and that really makes my day. Thank you very much. Well, I'll continue to commentate for all you guys as we head into the final few laps of the Hungarian Grand Prix. So much to happen in this race, guys. 3 cars in the battle for the race lead. And the question now is, what are McLaren going to do? I know we've been talking about this pretty much. Oh, Slash gets a 3-second time penalty. Slash has a penalty. That's it. That is it, guys. I think if Jarno doesn't score a 3-second time, if he doesn't get a 3-second time penalty, then Jarno has got the race victory. This is really good for McLaren. Horrible news for Williams, as Slash is now going to be, unfortunately, probably not scoring P1, and not even P2 because Francie's P1 and he's effectively battling Francie right now. So this is really good news for McLaren right now, as this gives them a little bit of breathing space, to be honest. So this is good, as there's a Mercedes of Jordy exiting the pit lane. Hopefully this doesn't affect the race leaders. Oh, it's okay. He's ghosted. It's all good. It's all good. And El Piloter has lost a little bit of time to his teammate. He's down to 4 seconds and now starting to chase after those other drivers. It seems like also Clem also was able to or wasn't able to grab P5 at this current moment because he slipped down to 8th position, and now the 2 Red Bulls are up to 5th and 6th. Great performance by the 2 Red Bulls right now. And the 2 Alpines are also having a great battle too. Mats and Nick Kenshin having a great battle. Matt's right behind that Alpine car. and he might be able to make that move on his teammate. I think they're just going for a position right here, and they're battling for the race points right now. They are battling for P10. They're battling for that final points scoring positions. In other news, De Beausoleil has made his way back up to 9th position. It has not been his race, but he has been able to get back up to the rest of the field and looking to challenge Clem in the Haas. But it has definitely not been his day today. It was going all so well on the first couple of laps, and then that contact, I do believe, was with, who was it? With Nick Henshin, I do believe? Or another driver. I'm probably wrong about that. It was another driver, if I'm not mistaken. But Slash looking for the move on Jarno, trying to go around the outside of the McLaren driver into turn 1. Lap 32. Jarno stays ahead for now. Slash giving it his all as he's got the DRS, the ERS. This is still on for Williams, as Slash does get ahead, up into 2nd position, and Slash moves himself up into contention for the race victory. Now, he wants P2 in the race. Currently, all he has to do is overtake Francie, and then, if he's able to do that, then he might be able to grab this race victory, if he's able to get that gap to Jarno, but I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's possible. With Jarno right behind that Williams driver, I do not think it's possible. What Francie needs to do is defend like crazy to keep that Williams driver behind, which is going to be very difficult to do so because we know how fast Slash can be. Slash is very quick, and we know that he is a very consistent driver in terms of just consistently getting that time and gaining the time and making it overtakes, all that sort of thing, defense, all that sort of thing. Slash is very good at. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Is Slash going to be able to make that move on Francie? We will find out. As Syntex grabs a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Unfortunate to see that. Penalties come into play quite a bit here at the Hungarian Grand Prix, but that is quite all right. It is all good. As Slash will get up into 1st position, we'll ride on board with Francie as a comment came in, and it asked, please, Francie on board. Let's get a, yeah, I'll definitely answer that question by getting a Francie on board, because we need that McLaren driver to try and overtake Slash if he's going to be able to grab 2nd position in this race. And currently, right now, he's in 3rd, technically, with penalties and all that sort of thing. You guys know. So we'll see. But he's going to have the DRS. He doesn't have much ERS. Slash actually is on the same. So they're pretty much all on the same thing. And this is interesting because we are now on lap 33. And there is a chance that Slash could grab the race victory here if he's able to get that gap. Let's get a leader on, if I can get that. Let me find that real quickly. There we go. Jarno's gap to Slash is 1.3 seconds. Now, if Slash gains a few more tenths of a second, Jarno is dangerously close to losing the race victory here. And if he gets a penalty, it's all over. Not good for McLaren right now. Really not good. So what needs to happen right now is Francie needs to get that DRS and needs to chase after Slash. Now, he is losing a lot of time. And I think what needs to happen here is team orders. McLaren are... they need to activate emergency mode as a yellow flag in turn 13. I do believe that is Nick Henshin off the track. It's all good, though. Looks like he does continue on. But we are now entering lap 34 out of lap 35. 7 tenths separating 1st and 2nd position. Francie gaining time. He is gaining time. He's using that ERS, trying to gain the time on the Williams driver in P1 right now. Now, this is very critical for him to try and make that overtake on the Williams as soon as possible because he needs to also give the DRS to his teammate Jarno, who is right behind and needs to be within that gap to Slash. He's currently 1.3 seconds. That gap is still staying the same, but anything can change. One little mistake by Jarno, either a spin, a little bit of oversteer, or even just going wide, could completely ruin his chances of taking this first race victory here in season number 30. So we'll find out. But currently, McLaren are on for a double podium, which will be great for them. This is great news for McLaren. Either way it goes, it's currently right now P1, P3 for McLaren. Once Slash gets that penalty, Jarno should jump up into 1st. Unless Francie is able to gain the time on Slash and be able to chase after that Williams driver. We now enter the final lap of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Things look to say the same, but anything can happen. One little mistake and drama could spike. We will find out what happens here, as anything is possible in league racing. Slash keeps ahead for now, 8 tenths separating the top two. I lost my words there, sorry. Yarno in P3 for McLaren. The top three still staying the same. Let's just ride on board with Slash, see if he how this lap goes, as it looks like Hyped has now got a 3-second time penalty, which is going to affect his position, because I do believe Clem might be able to grab P6, I think, ahead of that Red Bull, and should be getting P5 in the race, but we'll see. So Slash coming down into that tricky turn 11. Into turn 12, the third to last heavy braking zone, and Slash is going to come around the final two corners, but we're not going to run on board with the Williams. We're going to run on board with the McLaren driver. Yarno has done everything he can today. He has been in contention multiple times for wins, and today he's going to do it. Today he's going to do it. Yarno comes to the line and takes his first win here in season number 30. Yarno wins the Hungarian Grand Prix in an epic end to the Hungarian Grand Prix. Slash takes home P2 for Williams. An incredible job by him. He gained 15 positions, and he has done an absolutely amazing job today. He scores P2, finishes on track in second position. Also, congrats to Francie as well on an amazing strategy. Both drivers had an amazing strategy there. Francie makes it a double McLaren podium here today in Hungary. What a result for McLaren. Also, what a result for Williams, and a result for Red Bull as well, as all three of those teams have have both of their drivers in the top 6. Absolutely incredible. All 6, or the top 6 is all McLaren, Williams, and Red Bull drivers. Those three teams really impressed today. Yarno grabs P1, Slash P2, Francie P3, El Piloter P5, or P4, and Ruben rounds off the top 5 for Red Bull. And this is the driver that we are riding on board with. He shakes that fist in the air as he grabs the race victory. Slash has been given the driver of the day by the game. I definitely have to agree with that one, as he did an incredible job in today's race. So congrats to Slash on that driver of the day. But the team we're talking about today is McLaren, as they lift the drivers and constructors trophies here at Hungary, as Yarno will take the win here at the Hungary. He really did a great job in today's race, consistently drove a great race. He took advantage of what happened to De Bosler and Jordy as well, the contact I had, and Yarno was able to grab P1, and he consistently drove the entire race. So congrats to him on that. He got no penalties as well. So great job by Yarno, really. So Yarno does grab the win from 4th on the grid to 1st, Slash from 17th to 2nd position, as well as Francie from 12th to 3rd. That strategy of going hard medium really worked out for those two drivers. Congrats to them. They should be really proud of themselves. El Piloter grabs P4 with some really good points for Williams in today's race. It is all Red Bulls in P5 and P6, Ruben in P5, Hyped in P6. A very good job to Red Bull as well. They grabbed some really good points. The reserve driver Syntax grabs P7 for Aston Martin, with Clem in P8. Congrats to him on that position as well. It's a kind of a what could have been situation for De Bosler and Giro as they round off P9 and P10 and the top 10 of today's race. As De Bosler, I think it could have been more for him. Same with Giro as well. Also, Alpine weren't able to grab a great result in today's race. It didn't really go well for them here today in Hungary, but that is okay. That is how racing goes. But I think we're going to be ending things off. But before we do that, we are going to do a quick interview with our 3 drivers, our podium sitters. So what I'm going to do real quickly, guys, is I'm going to get our 3 drivers in the PlayStation party here. It shouldn't take me long, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute of me just inviting those 3 drivers. So what you're going to see is a blue screen, and then we'll get into the driver interview. So just give me 1 second here as I go do that. Alrighty, so I have invited all 3 drivers into the party chat now. We're just awaiting them to join, as we have Yarno joining the party chat. Yarno, before we get a quick interview with you, would you mind checking your party settings just so we can hear you on YouTube and all that sort of thing?
I guess I allow your voice to be shared, always allow.
Yep,
So
that's it. Perfect. All right, thank you very much. And we're just waiting for Francie and I do believe Slash to get into the party. So we'll just wait for them and then we'll start all the interviews.
No problem.
All right, we have Slash joining as well. Slash, thank you for joining us. Would you mind checking to see if we can hear you on YouTube? Just see if that switch that says always allow for us to hear you on YouTube. Can you see if that's on?
I think it might be on.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you very much for checking all that. And then I think we're just waiting for Francie to get in here. And that will be good. I'm just going to quickly mention him on Discord. So just give me one moment. All right, and while Francie is joining, I guess we'll start off with first place and then second place, and then we'll move into third place. So, yeah, we'll start off with that. So let's start off with Yarno, our race winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Yarno, I want to say congrats on P1. I do believe it is your first win this season, so congrats on that as well. Just how do you feel after that race victory? Talk us through how your race went.
I feel quite relieved because, yeah, after some bad luck in the last few races, I managed to finally do it right and take the win. Well, started P4, tried to overtake Garofu like straight away, but yeah, I couldn't get him around the outside in turn 3. Tried to undercut them, but the Buzelara was right in front of me trying to do the undercut as well, but 2 laps later he collided with Mats, so I got a free position there. And I undercutted like Garofu and the other guy, which was Jordi. And all from there I was leading the race, and yeah, after the safety cars I was like, should I pit? But because my tires were already pretty dead, to be honest. But eventually I pulled through, kept clean of penalties, and eventually took the win.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a brilliant race. It sounds like your race went really well, and it sounds like just everything went your way today. Talk us through, I know you mentioned your strategy a little bit. Talk us through how that went for you coming into this race. We know that Hungary is quite interesting. And if you don't mind as well, would you mind just telling us how it felt just kind of driving the circuit? We know that Hungary is quite a difficult circuit. So how were you with driving the circuit and also strategy as well? How did that all come into you winning the race?
Well, it's quite challenging to drive, I'm not gonna lie, because it's literally tricky, really tricky on the curbs. You can really unsettle your car quite quickly, spin, just like other people did in the race, as you could see. But my strategy was eventually soft hard, but I was just like, let's just take the gamble and take the mediums. and eventually it all worked out. Yeah, luckily from Slash also took a penalty, and yeah, I could just follow and stay within 3 seconds and took the win.
Well, definitely congrats on the race victory. I mean, you pulled off an incredible job today, so really well done today. I just have one more question for you, if you don't mind me asking. Next week is going to be the Red Bull Ring, the Austrian Grand Prix. How are you feeling about that race?
I think it's gonna be quite a challenge to stay out of the penalties, because corner cuts are really strict over there. So it's gonna be quite tough, and I think the one with the less penalties, with the most less penalties, if I say it correctly like that, will eventually take the win, I think.
Yeah, completely understandable, and I completely agree with you on that one. I do know that the Red Bull Ring is quite difficult for penalties, as there's many places to get a penalty on that track and just slightly go wide and you get a penalty. So definitely have to agree with you on that one. So all the best for Austria. Congrats on the race win here in Hungary, and hope to see you back here in the commentary box very soon.
All right, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You as well. Thank you very much. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into our second place finisher of the Hungarian Grand Prix here in PSGL. The Williams driver, Slash. Thank you for joining us, Slash. You had a pretty incredible race here in Hungary. You gained, I do believe, 15 positions, if I'm not mistaken. You got driver of the day from the game, and you grabbed P2 with a very good strategy. So just talk us through how your race went.
Yeah, it was quite insane. Quali just made a silly mistake, hit the wall, and DNF'd. My banker lap would have been put me around P4, P3, if I think. So it was kind of shame. And then just before the race, my teammates, we were both in the party, he told me to go to the hards. And it turns out it was the right decisions, as the safety car came out at the perfect time. I overtook Girafu, and then my teammate let me through, and then it was about against the McLarens, and then unfortunately I got a silly 3-second penalty on the chicane on the exit, so it really me a chance of getting the win. And if it was one more lap, I think I would have gotten the win if it was one more lap. So it was so gutting.
Well, it sounds like you had a pretty eventful race here today in Hungary. Qualifying seemed to not go the way you wanted, but then the race turned out to be pretty great for you. Also, how did your strategy work? Because we saw you and I think Francie also go from the hards to the mediums. Were you always planning to go to the hard strategy? So just talk us through how that strategy worked out.
So initially, my plan was to do a medium hard strat, but I changed it up to do a hard mediums. And in the first lap, I had a half spin as well, so I lost around 6 seconds to Francie. So by the time the safety came out, I was only like 3 seconds behind, and straight away I knew the mediums could take me all the way to the end. And yeah, I knew the soft was going to be quite awful tire to use, so I was never thinking about using them from the get-go.
Very interesting. Yeah, I definitely have to agree with the strategy that you chose. It sounds like, I mean, it worked out for you. You eventually got P2 in the Grand Prix. So it sounds like that strategy just really worked out. And maybe you'll be able to do that similar strategy in future Grand Prix here in Hungary. So yeah, great result here in Hungary. Really well done on the P2. And I just want to ask the same question to you as I did to Jarno. How are you feeling about the Austrian Grand Prix coming up next week for round 6? How are you feeling about that?
Fortunately, I don't think I'll be racing that track next week, since
Oh,
I
okay.
have some other commitments. But I just hope the best for all the drivers racing in there, and hopefully my teammate does well, since my main goal is to get the constructors.
All right, no problem. Yeah, That's a great thing. Of course, you won the Constructors Championship. I think you guys definitely have a huge chance. I think I talked about it in Portugal for the first round, that I think you two have a really big chance of taking the Constructors Championship. So all the best for the future, mate. I hope you have a great season, and see you hopefully in the commentary box once again.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining us, Slash. And thank you, viewers, for joining the stream as we end off things here today in PSGL. That was Jarno and that was Slash on their races here today in Hungary. Jarno obviously grabbing P1 and Slash grabbing P2. So congrats to both of them. Also, congrats to Francie, who wasn't able to join the interview today on the P3. And also, great job to all the rest of the drivers that participated today. So, that's going to end things off here today in Hungary. As you may have gathered, we'll be racing in Austria next time out. Next week, same exact time for the F8 division and all of PSGL as we get ready to race in Spielberg for the at the Red Bull Ring in the Styrian Mountains. So join us then for the Austrian Grand Prix. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching and goodbye.